Hi guys, we're back. We're definitely not in hospital.
Oh my goodness, you haven't died, Chantelle.
No,
That's cool.
she's alive still.
Did you get some sleep?
I got some sleep. I got some
Nice.
really good sleep. The
Sleep's
internet
good.
is a wild place sometimes, as I know a lot of you guys know. But me and Dad just wanted to jump on today, do a bit of a dual live.
Yeah, have a wee
which
chat
is-
about what's going on and what's happening in the future that we know about anyway.
Yeah, which is awesome. So as you guys will know, Frontline Law is the law firm that worked with the NZDF and the police force, and they won their case recently, which was really exciting. They then contacted me last night. They've put out a thing, I think at 6 a.m. this morning, and what they're saying is they're really happy that they won their case, but they're so thankful that the New Zealand people really backed them, both in funding and also in love, and also in all the support that they got over the last couple of months. And so they're now bringing another case, and they want all mandates dropped for all New Zealanders by the 4th of March, which is so exciting.
The good news is it's 4th of March this year, not next year. And the reason it's so exciting is the whole traffic light system, the mandates are a waste of time now. In fact, MIQ is a waste of time because COVID is right throughout New Zealand, it's rampant everywhere. Why have we got MIQ? It's illogical and unreasonable and really unjustifiable. The amount of money spent there, I think there's 1,000 New Zealand Defence Force working there. For what? Allow Kiwis to come home, allow people to come into New Zealand. It's here now, we know it was here, we knew it was coming, it is here. So it's time for the government actually to see a little bit of common sense, a little bit of logic and a little bit of reason. Yeah, if you're crook, stay home. Yeah, if you've got comorbidities, protect yourself. But at the end of the day, Omicron is going to go rampant right throughout New Zealand. It is going to hit everywhere, and for most people it'll be mild symptoms, which is great. So, you know, really what the lawyers are asking the government to do, dropping the mandates, is really just a very logical progression from what's already happened, because what is hard is to justify them staying on the data that's available, on what the results we're seeing in New Zealand, as well as what is happening worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a really exciting time, and we're seeing so many other countries drop their mandates. A lot of people said, oh, we've got to wait till the cases get really big before they drop them. Well, we're at what, 14, 15,000 now. It's going right throughout New Zealand, and this is only the people... 40,000? Yeah, maybe. But this is also the people that have been tested as well. You don't know how many people are actually sick. As the WHO have said and other countries have said, Omicron's a lot more mild, so a lot of people might not even get tested. They might be carrying it and spreading it, and they would have no idea. And they're also saying that the jibby jab hasn't helped with the transmission of this one. So again, anybody could have it, anybody could spread it. Why can some people not buy a latte?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the key also, why we're still forcing people and discriminating against people whether they take something that actually doesn't work. Its effect is so minimal that it shouldn't be forced on anyone whatsoever. And the other thing that has been questioned both to the police and to the government is how come you don't report on the harm that we've seen from the jibby jab? Why is there no fair reporting on that also? Because we hear absolutely every single person that dies or is sick with COVID, but there is no data of the amount of people that are sick with the actual jibby jab. Why is that not there as well? If you're playing in a level playing field, you know what I mean? If you're being honest and open and upfront and reporting on the real data, then every time you report of how many cases are with COVID, you should also report how many people are in hospital because or with the jibby jab, because that is fair reporting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have a really good point when people talk about, they've been saying that the media shows both sides and everything like that, but then there has been no pressure put on the government for their lack of truthfulness when it comes to statistics. And a lot of people know this, that guy that was shot in the head got counted as a COVID death. He obviously didn't die from COVID, it was with COVID, but actually this has been a massive problem from the very beginning. Why is this not talked about? I think since the outbreak first started, we've had about 60,000 deaths in New Zealand. 60 of them are people with COVID, and that has justified 2 years of lockdowns, $60 billion spent. So many doctors and nurses have lost their jobs, and firefighters and everyone else, chiropractors, teachers, the whole lot, social workers. It's not justified, it's ridiculous, it needs to stop, and people need to put more pressure on the government now. It's been great seeing more and more politicians now saying that it should be dropped. We've been saying this from the very beginning. And one thing I would recommend to people, look at the science, and if it's actually changed, or if it's just some people have been saying the same thing from the very beginning, and how consistent they've been. Because I think it's very interesting if you look at your sources. A lot of people have said from the beginning that you should just isolate people that are sick and get tested if you are symptomatic, not if you're asymptomatic. I mean, the expense to this country has been insane, and how can we justify this now when we're seeing people 2 years on and it is relatively more mild?
Yeah, and the harm to businesses is massive. We're seeing it while being here in Wellington. You know, the businesses that are closing, it just continues to snowball, and it's not because of COVID, it's because of the mandates, it's because of the traffic light system, it's because people are so fearful to go out. And that is wrong. It shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be losing businesses. These are hardworking Kiwis that have ploughed all their time, energy and finance into creating a business. And now they've got two things. One, people say, I've got a sniffle, I can't come to work, I've got to self-isolate, so they haven't got the workers. And then people are too scared to go out, so they haven't got the clients. It's a double whammy, and it's destroying us as a nation, and it doesn't have to happen. Because, you know, what we've experienced over the last 2 weeks of being in Wellington, being down there on site at Parliament, is the most caring, the most freeing, the most loving environment that I've been in for a long time. It's amazing, and it's people having good conversations, people from all walks of life, and I think that's New Zealand we actually want. And I'm really sad for the amount of people that are believing mainstream media that it's filthy, that it's dirty, that it's they're all this people or that people, which is it's blatant lies. I'm sorry, I'll just call that what it is. They are lies. It's not. It's all walks of people, and they're actually really loving and kind. It's been amazing. And so that's the sort of society we want in New Zealand, not one ruled by fear. And it's that fear-mongering that the government have done in 2 years of sustained propaganda, continued lying people, putting out false evidence, putting out false facts, not giving all the data, not allowing people to choose, that has been destroying us as a nation. And that's why people are still here and still fighting it. We want our nation back, our nation of caring, loving New Zealanders, look after each other, support one another, care for one another, and have a vision of future for not just our children, but our grandchildren as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A prime example of one of those lies was one of the stations, I think it might have been Stuff, but don't quote me on that because I could be wrong, was saying how they've connected the protesters built their own toilets, fully functioning toilets, and they connected it to the water waste where it's not allowed to go, and they tried making a big drama out of it. I've just talked to a guy from Wellington Council, and he's come and he's like, no, I've come down and cited it, and it's all been done correctly. So these are the examples of the kind of things that they say that aren't actually accurate and they aren't true. Now, a lot of people are trying to compare people protesting against the mandates and saying, why do you even care about the mandates? There's a war happening in the Ukraine. It's a much larger issue. You should care about that so much more. These wars are allowed to happen because dictators are allowed to get enough strength that they can make decisions like that without the backing of the people, such as what Putin is doing over in Russia. Now, I know there's a lot more to that in terms of different biolabs and things like that that are questionable. So there's a lot more to that story that we're not going to go into right now. But what I'm talking about is that we cannot allow dictatorship to take hold and totalitarianism to take hold in New Zealand. And that will happen if people aren't listened to. And what we've got right now is a huge protest on Parliament lawns, and our Prime Minister will not listen to the people. That is an issue, and we do not want anyone being able to be given the kind of power that we see overseas. So this is exactly what we should be protesting right now.
And in reality, there's probably very little we can do as a nation for Ukraine, although, I mean, I'm watching it with grief because I'm seeing, you know, just your average citizen in Ukraine putting up an assault rifle and saying, I'm going to defend my country with my life. Is that the sort of world we want to live in? I don't think so. I think it's brutal, it's sad, it's tragic, it's unnecessary, unwarranted, and there's a lot of people to blame with that, and a lot of people taking up more power than they actually really should have. That's creating that sort of environment. You know, at the end of the day, what is happening in Ukraine, we can't stop. We've got to be really careful that it doesn't spread. I'm concerned about Beijing having a good go at Taiwan while everything's happening in Ukraine. I was concerned about some footage I saw today in Ukraine, which almost looked like a mini nuke going off. It may not have been, it might have just been a massive standard ammunitions, but it was huge. So, look, there's bigger things happening in the world, to be sure, but the battle for New Zealand is here in New Zealand right now, and it's not a fisticuff battle. It's a battle of opinion, it's a battle of truth, really. And at the moment, on the battle of truth, there's the citizens of New Zealand who are living it, seeing it, paying for it, and both the government and the media who are presenting a narrative that actually doesn't stack up with science or the evidence that we're all getting to see. We've got to keep fighting that battle, and that's why we're here, and we'll continue to do it.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will show you around the protest more later on, but thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me and Dad, and we'll keep you updated. As you can see for the last time, we're both well. Yeah. We're doing great. We're enjoying the sunshine.
Beautiful sunny day in Wellington.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a banger. Yeah.
What's that saying in Wellington? You can't beat a good day in Wellington, but there's hardly ever.
Yeah,
all right.
Appreciate it.
See you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you later.